The following is a presentation of the Healthcare Facilities Network.
Hello, and welcome to the Healthcare Facilities Network. As always, thank you for clicking on this video. I am Peter Martin from Gosselin Martin Associates, and I am joined this morning, or today, whenever you happen to be watching this, with Adam Mayle. Adam is the president of the Florida Healthcare Engineers Association. We are coming to you from their conference down in Tampa, Florida, in November 2023. Adam, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. I thank Adam for inviting me down. We're doing a brief presentation a little bit later, but as we've done on the Healthcare Facilities Network, whenever we can use this network to promote what our chapters are doing, that's what we like to do. And so I thank Adam for making time early this morning. As you guys know, these conferences are always chock full with time, so making 30 minutes in the morning is appreciated. So Adam, tell us a bit about you. Before we talk about the Florida Healthcare Engineers Association, were you a director? What's your role currently?
So I'm Administrative Director of Facilities for Memorial Regional Hospital in Hollywood, Florida. It's a 6-hospital system, 62 off-sites. I have 3 hospitals under my license, each with its own facilities director, thankfully.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, we're about 1 million square feet. Original structure built in 1951, and about 6 towers, I believe, built over various decades. So it's it's a lot to manage. 1 million square feet of aging infrastructure.
Yes. Yes.
But I have a great team that allows that makes that happen. Allows me to do things like this.
Excellent. Well, yeah. I mean, it's obviously a big commitment with your role in the hospital and then your role with the engineers. How do you make the time?
That's it. You make time.
Yeah.
You make time. Again, I have an outstanding team. I have a director that works with me, Tom Ginter. He runs the maintenance and safety side of the house, and I have facilities manager David Marcos, who runs our project side of the house, and I have an administration that supports me being here. So it's you make the time.
Yeah, you make the time. Well, I thank you for making the time.
This is Peter Martin. If you or your organization is interested in advertising or partnering with the Healthcare Facilities Network, including sponsoring content, then please email me using the barcode in the lower right of your screen. From the trades level to the vice president level, from planning, design, construction, project management, compliance, safety, and security, the Healthcare Facilities Network reaches FM people where FM people are.
So with all that time and with that time commitment, what is it like running an engineer association in 2023?
I've been with FHEA quite a while, and I was a district president in 2020, which was almost non-existent probably for every organization in the country. So in 2023, we're in many ways still rebuilding.
Rebuilding from COVID.
Rebuilding from COVID, yeah. Our organization is about education, and while we still did the Zoom and over the digital airways sort of education, it's not the same because our supporting members, they want some face time,
yeah,
and they weren't able to get that, and everybody, the hospital workers were so busy during COVID. Education wasn't really, it was only education about COVID, and that was yeah. Being fed from the top down. So we lost a lot of membership during COVID. And so 2023 is really still rebuilding from that pandemic.
Wow. So how has that rebuild process been since COVID?
It's been great actually. We've increased membership. We've come back stronger, believe it or not. We dropped up to about 900 members, I believe, during COVID, because people just let it lapse. A lot of supporting members who need this space time. And again, education wasn't in the forefront. But since then, we've come back stronger. We, I think, at our highest level ever, with about 1,350 members right now.
Wow, wow. So you dropped to 900. So you've increased about 450 folks.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. We're experiencing a lot of growth right now.
What do you attribute that growth to? Is it a number of factors? I'm sure you're just happy to see the people come in, but is there a factor that you think, or?
Florida as a whole is increasing a huge population. It can't be attributed just to that. I think there was was monies that weren't spent during the pandemic, and now that's being spent, whether it's, for the supporting members, advertising dollars, maybe they're wanting to make up for business lost during COVID, perhaps. And we've had, for us personally, it's not necessarily pandemic related, but we've had a very large hospital system, maybe the largest hospital system, has recognized the value that we bring and has committed to supporting the FHEA for their education, for educating their facilities directors. Now they have had, because of the industry the way it is, it's the same in Florida. We have a lot of people entering retirement and a lot of young people coming into the pipeline, and they're making an effort to train up their engineers into directors, and their younger directors into stronger directors. And so for us, that's meant more membership.
Yeah.
They see the value in the education that we bring.
That's excellent. That's excellent. So that's a healthcare system that is putting their facilities employees into FHEA to educate them, to give them obviously visibility, networking. I mean, that's a solid commitment.
Yeah, it is. And also that they found that if you let them get involved in these organizations, so they have the networking, the camaraderie, that they're happier and will generally stay longer. Otherwise, they'll gravitate to the organizations that allow them to do these things.
Yeah. Yep. That's not all organizations think that way these days, which is, it must be for you in your hospital, in your president role, must be a head scratcher, right? It would seem the investment is small of money, but the benefit is big.
It is huge. And for example, this networking, one of the benefits of it is during COVID, it seems everything comes back to that.
It does.
But during COVID,
it's like 2020, like BCAD.
Yes. We hit the reset button for 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hate that it comes back to that, but
I do too,
it's the most recent and obvious example that I have. But during that time, we found out that everybody, because of our networking and our connections, we found out everybody was getting shorted on their oxygen deliveries, and the company providing the oxygen wasn't being.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't being. They weren't notifying us that, hey, you're getting short. You're getting shorted on your oxygen deliveries. One of us noticed it, and then called another one. Found out it was statewide.
Wow.
And so that act allowed us to, we got to a point where oxygen trucks were getting like a police escort, to make sure that they made it to their organization. They were supposed to be getting too fast.
Wow.
So it was that act of us networking that really raised the red flag on the oxygen shortage.
That's a great story. And that's, again, that's something that, like in your world and in the world of healthcare facilities, like somebody may look at that and say, oh, that's not much, but that's huge. Like that is impactful. And that's, those are the types of activities that the states do. And it's so beneficial to the whole profession.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk more. Obviously not here. We got people walking in with water and stuff, so it's actually kind of fun. But I'd love to talk about that. That's outstanding. Can I ask you one last question about
absolutely.
that?
Absolutely.
And you don't have to answer if you don't want, but was the shortage intentional?
It was no, so it was not intentional. It wasn't actually a
That's
lack
good.
And it wasn't actually a lack of oxygen. They didn't have enough truck drivers, so they would, trying to use their resources as best they could, to their credit, with a little bit of oxygen here, a little bit of oxygen here, so on one run, instead of just filling up one organization, they would take a little bit to each, so that everybody had something.
Everybody had something.
And again, to their credit, given their position, I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah, that's great. So with the that is a great story and is a great background. What are some of the challenges running a chapter in 2023?
Something we're experiencing lately is getting hospital approval to attend sessions, and it's not necessarily hospital approval. I should take that back, because what we're getting is the administration seems to be very supportive, and for example, mine is very supportive. It's the workload is increasing to a point where they're having trouble getting away. Even our own board, who's extremely committed group of individuals, can't make the sessions.
Yeah.
To some degree, so because there's always something going on. Again, I have the luxury of having, a 40-person team with a great support structure on both sides, above me and below me. That's not the case at most facilities.
And there's really how do you rectify that? Short of hiring more people, right? Short of hiring additional people into the hospitals.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is there's not the people to hire out there, right. Really. You would think with the influx of people into Florida, that would you would have a bunch more employees to hire, right? A lot of applicants, but that's not the case. I think with the influx of people is increased building, and in healthcare you need a higher quality tradesman, you need a higher quality electrician, a higher quality plumber with specific skill sets. But those better people right now can work construction and make more money. Right. Yeah. And so while we're having the influx of people, that means more patients, but it doesn't necessarily mean more tradesmen to serve those patients. So our hospitals are busier, facilities directors are busier, facilities departments are busier, but they don't really have the more employees that they need to run their departments.
It is. It's such a competitive environment for the folks that you're going after, and for multiple reasons, good reasons. You're not paying at the top of the range, yet you need a more. You need that higher level of skill.
Yeah, and something we've talked with our recruiters about. The recruiters within our organization is they're used to recruiting for clinical. Yeah. Nurses. They know how to recruit nurses and respiratory therapists, and the clinical trades they know how to recruit. But when they start looking at the compensation for facilities, they just compare to other hospitals. Yeah. And our argument has been, and they're listening to us now. Our argument has been, we're not competing with other hospitals. We're competing with all the electrical contractors, all the mechanical contractors. We're competing with the Hard Rock Hollywood, the giant guitar casino they built. Yeah. We compete with them. We compete with all the resorts. We have to pay what they're paying, and better actually if we need, if we're going to have consistency in the service we provide.
Yeah, and it's interesting for down here because you just talked about the resorts you're competing in, but then you get the GCs, the mechanical contractors, the data centers, the pharmaceuticals, the manufacturing. Yeah. So your environment that you're recruiting against is even larger because you're throwing those resorts into the mix.
Exactly, because you can be an electrician in any place. You can be a mechanical contractor in any place. So it's facilities directors. You don't have to be in a hospital. You could go to a resort or casino and also work. Right. I think it'd be a waste of a specific skill set to do so. Yeah. But you could.
Is that why one of the reasons you stay is because of the you're in a hospital and the function and the passion and the mission and
yeah, not to quote Liam Neeson, but I have a specific set of skills.
I just saw that was where his daughter gets kidnapped,
yes,
right?
Yeah, correct.
I was just watching I've never seen that, but I was watching a trailer for it the other night. I can't remember what I settled on watching, but it wasn't that. I was like, I should watch that.
Yeah, so if you're a facilities director in a hospital, you have a specific set of skills towards that, towards the healthcare facilities industry. And it would be a waste to take that and just manage any random building.
And I agree with you. So let's talk about the conference because here we are. The 2023 conference, is there a particular theme and how difficult is it? You just talked about the challenges of running a chapter just as far as even getting people to come out because they're so busy. How difficult is it creating an education track for folks? Because as you said, that's what attracts people, right? The education component. How difficult is it to do that? And
so assembling this, it's not a simple task. So again, we have a whole board, we have a team, we have the traditional, president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, but we also have committee chairs. And so our education committee chair, former chair sergeant John Crouch, so our meeting management group puts out a call for presentations, and John Crouch kind of gets them and vets them. And then since you probably have to edit this out.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he gets that information and sends it out to the rest of the board. We kind of vet the speakers based on speaker quality, relevance of the content. Is it code changes, which there's always a code change, or a change in the water that you use in sterile processing. Something's changing every year. So he looks at that for relevance, and then we also look at the quality of the speakers and make sure it's not just a sales pitch.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to sit here and listen to a sales pitch for an hour.
Right.
So it's those things. So it's challenging because we don't necessarily, without seeing each person's presentation and see it in the act, we don't really know what we're getting until they take the stage, other than what they tell us they're going to say. So yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking at the beginning, but we've seemed to have done well. And with a few exceptions. But we're working, actually, that's one of the biggest things we're doing is trying to work on the quality of our education.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's your draw, right? The
That's our draw. We are an education organization.
Yeah, yep. So I want to be respectful of Adam's time. It seems like there's a significant value to being a member with what you offer. And we didn't even really talk about the networking component of it, but I'm sure, that is huge as well. What's the cost to be a member? What's the cost to be a hospital member and a support? I don't know what the term, and a supporting member. What do you guys charge?
So our hospital members are we call active members.
Active members.
And then if you're hospital but not in a leadership position, you're an associate member. And then if you're a vendor, you're a supporting member. The numbers are almost embarrassingly low. So if you're an active member, it's $30.
$30 a year.
$30 a year.
Wow.
And then if you're a supporting member, it's $50.
Wow.
So we're able to keep those numbers low because of the sponsorships our supporting members bring.
Yeah.
So for here, there's going to be several dozen tables outside with the supporting members, telling you the products or services they provide. And so them paying for those keep our costs down.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good value.
It is a really good value.
You spend $30 at lunch these days.
Yeah, and some of our districts hold a holiday party at the end of the year, also sponsored by the supporting members for the most part. That party probably is worth 2 or 3 times worth of the membership. Just the meal. But to your point about the networking, it was that networking, everybody knowing each other and working together that identified that oxygen issue during the pandemic.
Right.
So the networking, while it can keep facilities stocked with fresh facilities directors and qualified facilities directors, it can also, during times of crisis, us knowing each other and being able to work together, trade equipment, or staff if needed. While the hospital organizations themselves may be in competition, during pandemic it was, hey, what do you need? Let me help you out. We were doing things at my facility that I was sending down. I was sending the plans down to Mount Sinai. I go, hey, listen, if you need to make a regular room, negative air isolation, this is the type of HVAC system we have. This is what we're doing to make it work. I sent it to a buddy down at Mount Sinai who was asking what we were doing.
Yeah.
So, during times of crisis, there's no real competition. Nobody.
That's a great line. And they're starting to break down around us, so I want to ask one question, but that's a differentiator, what you just mentioned, Adam, and I wonder if people, like, you guys all work together. There's no, sure there's an us versus them, but when something happens, it's not an us versus them. I'm not sure if people realize the level of interaction and camaraderie that there is among people who are running hospitals, because you're kind of in unique roles that you can sympathize with.
Yeah. Well, we're in the unique position that nobody in the hospital knows what we do except for us, which is great if you're doing your job, and if you're not, that's not so good. But as I mentioned, the organizations are in competition to some degree. But before I was even president, I was working with the recruiter at Mount Sinai, or at HCA, who recruited me into my position at HCA when I first got there. And she learned I was at FHEA, and she would send me their job postings, and we would have them posted to our website. Ultimately, we want to maintain the integrity of the industry.
Yeah.
We want to make sure good people are in good places in the right organization. It doesn't do any good for us to put somebody that into a position that shouldn't belong there.
Right.
Because it makes us look bad. So we will help. Especially right now in the labor shortage in this field, it's more important. But if we have somebody that's we know is good that is unhappy where they are, we'll help them get somewhere else.
So with that, Adam, I think that's the perfect answer to go out on and let you go out into your day. I appreciate Adam Mayle, the president of Florida Healthcare Engineering Association. 30 minutes this morning. Thanks for your time. And if there's anything, any way you want to connect with Florida, or you hear this, you want more information, how do they, can they reach out to you?
Yes.
Or how would people reach out if they
Yes,
want more info?
through www.FHEA.org. That'll put you in contact with our meeting management group, and they can forward to me any questions or concerns.
Excellent. Adam, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. So Peter Martin from the Healthcare Facilities Network, thank you for watching. And if you're in Florida, fork over the $30. Have a great day.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Healthcare Facilities Network. Please give this episode a like.